What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? It is your girl. Um, um, I decided at the last minute that I'm going to go live and make myself available for anybody who wants to run. I'm trying to just make sure that I'm actually broadcasting. Um, for anybody who wants to run some news jacks by me. So I see some people coming in. Can we make sure you can hear and see me, and that I'm good. I'm all set. Um, because I can't really tell. Okay, so I hear myself here. Okay. And that I'm good. I'm all set. So identify. Make sure. Let me shoot. Come on. Because I can't really tell. Okay, so I hear myself here. Okay, wait. Okay. And that I'm good. I'm all set. So identify. Let's go. Okay. So let's see. Let me switch over to comments here. So child. All right. So if you have been living on a rock for like the last hour and a half, you may have missed the slap that we all heard around the world. So let me bring you up to speed just in case you don't know. And like, I didn't plan on going live, and I was getting ready to type an email out to my list. I was like, you know what? No, we got to talk about this. Plus, I want, hey, all I get is on here is it just says Facebook user. So I don't know who's speaking to me. But what I did want to talk about, this is strictly about media. I'm going to try to keep my opinion out of this. This ain't what this is about. This is me getting y'all out there to get exposure and leverage the heck. Now, listen, if you have been following me and I have taught you how if I have taught you how to pitch, okay, first of all, let me just go in the order of hierarchy. If you're one of my media mavericks, there's no excuses. If you can find an angle to newsjack this, I don't want to hear no excuses. There should be a pitch sitting in a producer's mail inbox tomorrow morning, Tuesday at the latest. But you got to strike while the iron is hot, because tomorrow morning, this is what everybody going to be talking about in the morning shows. It's going to dominate the headlines. It's going to dominate the 11 o'clock news here. I'm actually in LA right now. So you have got to jump on this. No excuses. If you want to mine, if you consider yourself one of mine, no excuses. This is a perfect opportunity. And if I've taught you how to pitch, if you know how to pitch, by all means, pitch. Figure out the angle for this. So newsjacking, let me just give the rundown on that. Newsjacking is the art of taking something that has popped off in the news, a social media trend or something, and leveraging it for your business, your book, or your brand. And the way I teach newsjacking, Facebook. Okay, I don't know who my Facebook user. Identify yourself once I read the one I'm talking about. West Philly don't play. First time, okay, not funny. Second time, y'all better quit. Third time, you keep my boo out your mouth. We tell our kids not to tolerate bullies unless they're a comedian. If that's your take on it, again, when it comes to newsjacking, I don't have an opinion on what side you pitch. You just need to pitch and talk about it. So let's get to it. I'm going to get to it. So it sounds like a lot of you know what I'm talking about, but newsjack, that is what we're talking about. Yeah, it's a lot here to newsjack. Yes, Dr. Catherine. So there, I was watching it live. And I thought it was staged and a skit until they dropped out the audio. And that's when I knew, like, oh, snap, this thing going off the rails. And I caught what Will was saying, because I could figure out the words. Listen, I usually can't read lips well, but I read them lips. I understood exactly what that dude said. Now, I knew it, but then I was like, no, that wasn't no, because I saw Jada's cutaway and what happened, and I was familiar with Jada's journey with her hair loss. And then I've read Will's book. I gotta say that Will's response did not surprise me. It really didn't. If you've read his book and you've kind of understand the journey that he's been on, you know exactly how triggered he was. I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that I understood it a bit more. There's a broken woman in the background. My book, The Healed Woman, Broken Woman Can Make a Broke Man. I still don't know who's talking. Oh, Tara. I'm like, wait, who's talking to me? Hi, Pumpkin. Yeah, it's just not telling me who. It just says Facebook user. So Chris Rock made a joke that for everybody seems to think, and I thought too that it was a reference to Jada's bald head, and she was like, I'm looking forward to G.I. Jane 2. You can see it didn't land well with Jada. Next thing we see is Will going up to the stage, and I swear I thought this was a fake punch, and because I heard it, and I was like, oh, so, they timed the sound effect, and so he slaps Chris Rock. Chris Rock then says immediately, Will Smith just slapped the out of me. And he explains that it was a joke, and then cut to Will going, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. And he repeated it again. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. So then Chris Rock, as you can see, he's like stunned, like, yo, it was a joke. Now, we'll say this is my opinion. Out of all, Chris had time for one joke. And he chose to come after a Black woman. He used that space to come after a Black woman. It went downhill from there for me. Like, so Dr. Stevie says, I thought it was stage 2 until I saw the uncensored version. No, I knew it wasn't staged the minute they cut the audio. I was like, yeah. Lacey says, leaving the Laugh Factory, what's going on? I think I just recounted it for you. That's what happened. We're talking about the Oscars. Okay, so now let's get to why I'm here. Now that we understand that part, Dr. Stevie said he chose violence and got it. Tamika says a joke is a joke. There have been many worse. Will overdid it. Again, I will say, based on studying Will, reading Will, that clearly I understood the trigger. I just don't agree with the reaction, but I understand it. But that's just my opinion. What's yours? And then what happened was somebody was live tweeting from the Oscars and said Denzel went and grabbed Will and they had a talk. And then when Will delivered his speech, and you notice Will did, let me get to the angles because I don't want to forget him. So when Will did his apology, he apologized to the Academy, he apologized to the other nominees, but he didn't apologize to Chris. Somebody could actually pitch how to do a proper apology. Okay, that's one angle. Another angle that I thought of immediately was Myra says, I just posted regarding this about protecting and defending Black women. I'm personally not mad at Will. The responses to this are going to be all over the gamut. We all have strong opinions about what had happened. Anita says body language and audio cut was the giveaway. It was real. Exactly. I used to teach reality TV, and people, I'm like, the minute you see a camera doing this, that was unplanned. When you watching a reality TV show and the camera's trying to find the action, it was unplanned and something went off the rails. So Sadia says, tweeted and posted question on IG asking women if they would want their man to protect them in this manner, or was it out of pocket, especially in front of company? Good, like that. A Black woman with alopecia, kids and adults with alopecia already deal with enough bullying from the ignorant. The aware and famous should know better. My girl, Tara. So, what was that? What touched me and what my cousin and I were having a conversation about is when the person tweeted about Denzel coming to get Will and have a talk. I was like, that's a mentor move. That's a brother move. Like, I can imagine, I gave her the example that if my cousin had acted out of pocket And I knew this is a big moment. And what Denzel knew was Will had the potential to win. How was he going to recover from this moment? So I would deem it my job, or somebody, if I did something crazy and out of character, I would expect my cousin to come snatch me up and go, all right, bathroom. Now we need to talk about what the heck is wrong with you and how we going to deal with this. And what are you going to say? What does that look like? There's a pitch somewhere in there. There's an angle in there about real friendship. What does a friend look like? What do friends do? What, when you have to stand by somebody and love them, even though they've made public mistakes. Obviously, one of the last times that something hot popped off in the media, this was a movie, but my my pitch got my client ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox in one fell swoop for newsjacking. That's why I'm passionate about getting y'all out there to talk about how this can impact you. Sadia says, I'm glad Denzel advised Will to be careful because at your highest, the devil attacks and will definitely has unhealed trauma. I'm reading his book right now. I typically don't read a book all the way through. I usually have like 5 or 6 books going on at one time. Your sister is calling. For Will's book, I devoured that thing. And like I blazed through it and I finished it within like 2 or 3 days. And so that's why I was saying earlier, I don't agree, but I understand the trigger. Who is this? Denzel to Will, at your highest moment, that's when the devil comes for you. Denzel was not happy with his reaction. And, Will, in retrospect, I don't think he was happy with his reaction. If you have questions or have an angle that you want to run by me, make sure you put it in the comments, because that's what I'm really here for, to let you run angles by me if you're going to be pitching. And if you need to know more about newsjacking, go to newsjackthat.com. There's a free book there. You can get it. Newsjackthat.com. It'll take about 15-20 minutes to read it. Kia, one of mine, school psychologist here, saw Denzel's mentoring like implementing a behavior intervention plan. Yeah, because, and that's what I kept telling my cousin, like, if you've studied Will, nothing that Will has done since we've met him in his career has ever shown him aggressive. I was like, you'll be hard pressed to find a scandal around Will. So for him to do this, it was totally out of character. So there has to be something else going on. Sadia says, I'm glad Denzel advised Will to be careful because, I already posted that. For some reason, I'm not getting my personal page comments over in StreamYard. So I will read it and say, Willa Marie says, typically, but Chris broke bro code, black code, hubby code, all the codes. Don't speak on a black woman's hair. He did work on good hair. Oh, I forgot about that, Willa. Willa Marie. He did work on good hair documentary. Needed to think about his daughters prior to speaking. I talked to him about confidence, and I'm trying to uncover the angle from the woman's perspective. I'm thinking. You can come, like, it would be like a different way around. You can come up with like just allude to the confidence of Jada to have publicly talked about her journey of what it looks like to be a black woman, with the bald head, and the confidence it takes to just accept you for who you are. From a husband's perspective, what it looks like when you're defending your wife. And again, this is not whether you agree or disagree. From a legal perspective, what Will did was, in my opinion, what little I know about the law, that was assault. He just walked up unprovoked, physically unprovoked. He wasn't in a threat for his life, and just slapped Chris. So my sister is here. I saw you call, so now you figured out that I'm live. Hey, my sister, I love you. what else I was going to say about another angle? Wait, let me just check the chat. Delmar says, in Will's acceptance speech, I could hear a heaviness on him. I hadn't read his book yet. Kia says Jada was showing support during the apology. Thanks, Jamel, for posting that for me. Newsjackthat.com. Let me see. I was trying to figure out how I describe the event to someone with visual impairment. You got to think about that. I mean, it's basically it is, you know, Will's wife has had challenges with losing her hair. Chris Rock made a joke that some people thought was inappropriate, and Will slapped the fire out of Chris Rock. That's the visual right there. Regina said Will did Will did a bitch slap. Look, my sister says he'd catch a case if it were me. My Dr. Cosette, oh my God, I owe you a call. Monica says he has a heavy calling on his life right now. No one really commented on the joke Regina Hall made regarding Will coming up the stage with all the other single men. She said Jada won't mind. Okay, so unfortunately, I was helping my cousin at the time and I missed that. But there's a news chat when my sister related to me. I was like, well, wow, if the tables were turned, that seemed, but I didn't see it. If that's how you feel, news jack that. Last says it will be interesting if the two men have a conversation about this. I'm almost certain they're gonna have a conversation about this. Somebody gonna bring them together, because they're two powerhouses and they can't be beefing like that. Jasmine, oh, this is good. Jasmine says children were also present. What can parents teach their children about this incident? Is this a bullying incident? That's a good one, Jasmine. Like, how do you know? A lot of kids look up to Will. So how do parents have this conversation without condoning the hitting? That's a good one. Maria says, share what your sister shared, please. Okay, so from my understanding, Regina Hall, who was one of the hosts, she's single, so she called up several men, and both correct me if I get any of this wrong. Again, this is secondhand information, y'all. I didn't see this. I had stepped out. I did not see this, but she Regina says, "But why aren't my personal comments coming up so I can put them up here? I don't understand why." Wait, I just lost my train of thought. Wait, what was I saying? Oh, I was explaining to Maria. Hi, Sunshine, by the way. So my sister told me that Regina, the host, is single. And so she called up a lot of single men, several single men up on the stage. And when she called them, she was like, well, your COVID test came back negative, so I got to do a pat down. And so she started patting the guys. And that's the part. And then she said something to the effect of, Jada, you're married and you already approve, or something like that. I'm sure it can easily be found. If that's something you're going to newsjack, make sure you go watch it. Valerie, my girl, hey Sunshine, this is my roommate from Howard, y'all, the Howard University, class of 94 with a degree in television production. Y'all know it's Howard's gonna always come up. I'm gonna slip that into the conversation. But my long time friend Val says, I loved how Puff suggested that we deal with his like family. So my angle would be about to quickly course correct. Okay, so that's an angle too. Like, how do you handle, conflict? What about communication? Like, I saw one of the posts from one of my Facebook friends. She's a neuroscientist, and she was like, alternative ending. Will stepped up to the mic and took that opportunity to school everybody about what the journey was that Jada had been on. Again, this is strictly up to you and your lane of genius. If you got a strong opinion one way or the other, I don't care. Newsjack that angle, okay? What was I going to say? So a communication expert, a conflict resolution expert. How could this have been resolved? Did Will resolve it? And like I said earlier, he didn't apologize to Chris Rock. So for me, um, that apology fell flat. You apologize to everybody except the person you actually physically assaulted. Deandra says, what Regina said was in reference to their open marriage. It's funny, nobody was offended by that, which brings me back to there had to be some unfinished beef between Will and Chris. I would totally agree with that. I was like, there's something else going on. But now let me say this. When you are newsjacking, stick to the facts of what we know. Don't go off of rumors or innuendos. Stick to the facts of what we actually know. And if you say something like, I don't know, it could be an unfinished beef, like put it in the questions of, I don't know what Will was thinking. It could be, what I saw. Okay. So say for instance, I was an expert in communication and body language. I would say something like, from my perspective, what I saw in the body language actually made me wonder, could there be some unresolved things that we just don't know about between Chris and Will? You see what I'm saying? I'm putting it, hey, my Lynette. Lynette says, did Will have that same passion against August? Okay, see, y'all going way back. So, but did you see how I put it in? I'm not speaking from facts, but I'm giving it what I'm thinking could have happened based on my experience. What am I saying? LaRonda says, I know Will slapped Chris, sauntered back to his seat, and proceeded to curse him out. Yeah, you could tell like that. Yeah. But again, for those of us who've read the book, Will has already expressed a lot that he's had an issue with protecting the people that started with his mom being abused. And so, he just came, when I'm not justifying it. I can just say I understand what triggered him. Now, here's something else to think about that my friends and I, and plus my cousin, have been talking about. Would Will had done the same thing if it had been said by a white comedian? Would he have reacted that way? One of my friends said, well, a white comedian wouldn't have come after Jada. But I still question, if a white comedian had delivered that joke, would Will have said something? And I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have. What does that say? There's an angle right there. Let's have that tough conversation. Could be an angle. It's my favorite part. Look, I'm looking. The TV's right here, and news opening clip. Chris Rock. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that too, Lynette. Lynette is talking about. Wait, let me read what Janelle says. Monica, does standing up? Let me see. Does stand up for your wife publicly make black men look crazy? Saudi is giving more insight to the Regina thing. Pat Down was of Jason Momoa and another actor. The single guys had left the stage at that point. Gotcha. Okay. Saudi says, yeah, Will knew he could get away with that with Chris. I agree, because the show just went on. He wasn't escorted out or nothing, and Chris, probably out of embarrassment, will not press charges. I don't think it'll be embarrassment. I just actually think it's just he ain't gonna. It may not be his boy, but I just don't think it's gonna. I just think he just wouldn't do it on just the strength. Jasmine says, my confusion is Will was laughing at Chris' joke. Also, the Daily Mail said that Chris said the joke during rehearsal the day before, and Will didn't say anything about it. I don't know, but these are the kind of things, Jasmine, that I want to say to everybody. These are the kind of things you have to make sure you research. Okay, you have to make sure you get the background. Hey, my Lugenia, Miss Lugenia said, that is a big question for me. Would he react the same way to the white man? Jamel says, would Will have reacted if I had been said by another black comedian? I think he would have, because of the trauma and the stuff that all of that triggered. but that's something, we can be talking about. Let me just look over here. Um, LaRonda, my sister, said Ricky Gervais has skewered many a Hollywood celeb unapologetically and never been taken to task for it. True. My cousin was offended by the Judi Dench joke about work harder. So it just depends. And Jada looked too agitated as heck. If you go look at the uncensored version on YouTube, and Will was screaming from the audience in defense of his wife. Will was wrong for smacking him, but whoever, and I can't see the rest of it. Well, whoever wrote the joke was wrong. If it was Mike, okay, yep. And that's what I was getting ready to say, Lynette. I worked with Will Packer, the producer, the first Black producer. He's a graduate of FAMU Kia. And Wanda Sykes from Hampton, Terrence J from North Carolina A&T did the pre-show. Meg the Stallion was from TSU. I saw all the Black excellence. And if I inject my opinion here, it's strictly because Will knows the game. And Will knows, it's like, you just overshadowed the triumph that we just had as a people. Just that set was dope. D nice. The opening, I was like, the minute I saw that content, I was just like, yo, this is not the regular Oscars. To the point I told my sister, the Black men that were with the dreads, there was a gray guy with the dreads that was one of the escorts, and there was another brother with his natural. It was just well executed, so creative. And I was so angry that all of that, instead of the headlines being how good of an Oscar show this was, the headlines are now going to be about Will and Chris. And I was so disappointed in that. Dr. Stevie says, this whole thing was heartbreaking to me. That was a slap. Yeah. I feel about this, I'll be transparent. I feel about this the way I felt when Jada tanked the Tupac movie, because she saw it early and she went to Instagram and basically just threw it under the bus. Therefore, nobody really went to see it. And I'm like, why did she do that? Why did she wait till it was, opening weekend? Those of us who work in the industry know how crucial the opening box office numbers are. And for somebody who is a veteran in the industry, you know this, and you still did this. That's how I felt about watching this. It's like, yo, do you know how long it has taken for us to get to this position where the orchestra, the maestro of the orchestra, like, that's what hurt me. That really was what hurt me. What else are you guys saying? Great point, TJ. So overshadowed that the people that gave the awards to Miss. Yeah, that's what I couldn't think about. I couldn't think about what the escorts is what I call them. So and that's just the people I know. I didn't really dig deep into the credits to see if I recognize any other name. Lynette says, I hope Will Packer hemmed up Will Smith. I know, right? But it's one of those things. Now, I will say the most heartwarming moment was when I found out that Denzel went and grabbed Will. Because I'm like, yo, that's love right there. If my sister acted out of pocket, we gonna handle this. Especially when I know my sister's, by the way, nominated 5 times for Emmy. Just want y'all to know. I can't say what show she's working on now, but y'all, a whole bunch of y'all are gonna be watching it. But if she, if I was at the Emmys with her and she did something like that, you can best believe we headed to the bathroom and we're going to get this straight before you go up on stage and accept your Emmy. And we're going to go over what has happened. How do you need to handle this? What do you need to say? Don't you get up there and say this. I just thought that was, I love that. Out of all the things that happen, that's the part that I love. That when we are, just supportive of each other. And that somebody earlier, it was Val, I think, that talked about how Puff handled it. But then I will say, one of my friends texted me, was like, Puff started feeling himself in the middle. It was like he switched up and was just like the real, like at first he was like cool. And I love how he came back and kind of handled it about how we, handle this as a family. But then in the middle of him delivering his presentation, he got real swaggy with it. I'm like, Puff is feeling himself with that diamond studded watch he had on that was blind to me. It was so tight. Stevie said, I honestly think the slap resounded louder than him winning, which is sad. Yeah. Denzel is to Will as Sidney Poitier was to him. Absolutely. Dr. Stevie says it will be interesting to see how Oscars 2023 goes. Dr. Stevie, tell me in the chat, where are you typing your comments? Where are you and Tara typing your comments? Where are you watching me? Because I'm not seeing the people on my personal page. I'm not seeing their comments in stream yard. Lorana says, Will Packer pulled out all the stops. It was a wonderful show minus that incident. Denzel has dragged and helped Will through this entire award season and he hasn't gotten the message. In the group. Okay, so it's in the group that y'all are talking. Okay, I don't know why it's not reaching to my personal page. Let me see if I can think of any other angles. Anybody else want to run angles by me to make sure you straight? Let me think if I can think of any other angles off the top of my head. Let me think. Laron, if you got any angles for newsjacking, obviously, this has nothing to do with the incident, but if you're into fashion, you can talk about what people wore. I talked about on the Friday when I did a live, I talked about the fact that if you are a chef, you can, look at what the menu for the governor's ball was and all the parties, the Vanity Fair party, and make your version of it. I talked about that my vegan chef Shy Curry used to watch Gordon Ramsay and make her vegan versions of it. Hey, my Sean, we're talking about newsjacking. You got any angles for Sean? For some of you, Sean is a bomb producer on Big Brother. So she's one of my favorite people. She's a friend, but she also has worked in the industry for a long time. So we're talking about newsjacking angles that people can use to newsjack this Will, Denzel, and Jada and Chris Rock thing, Sean. So if you got any ideas, put them in the chat. Last says, I'm reading Will may be asked to give the Oscar back. As his actions violates the code of ethics. Oops. I didn't even think of that. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about that last. Legenia says, hurtful to see sabotage in real action in our very own. Lynette says, will the Oscar get revoked from Will? Chalet says, the Smiths missed Chris Q to produce the Black G.I. Jane starred his wife. Lorana says, they'll have Will present next year as they normally do, and after that, he'll be put on ice. Actually, one of the things I also thought about is, when Steve Harvey made that brutal mistake of saying the name of the wrong, was it Miss Universe? And he made that thing work for him. If they smart, they gonna make it work for him. And I think he almost kind of did with his acceptance speech, except he did not apologize to Chris Rock. So I just found that to be interesting. LaRonda says, other than anger management needs to be a constant working process. Don't let a temporary incident cause a bigger problem. Yeah, so then there can be like how to handle the anger inside, before it boils over or something. Maria says, Will feels like he'll never be enough for Jada. That's what, for those of us who, that's why it's not a surprise line, a surprise to us. Tara says, trauma healing has no timeline. Will appears to still be dealing with trauma related to his marriage. Is Jada being passive aggressive and putting Will at risk? He didn't hit Mr. Entanglement. Like that. and he had more than Jada's name in his mouth. Was Will taking out his frustration towards August? Jada out on Chris? Who knows? Spirituality angle. Was his apology or Denzel's word of encouragement misuse of the Bible and scripture? Says Jasmine. This isn't the first time he has slapped someone. Didn't he slap the guy who tried to kiss him? What other time you talking about? Maybe he didn't apologize because Chris should apologize to Jada. I don't know. That's just something to talk about, whether, if apology was necessary. They have put people out of the academy for less. There are strict rules in the academy. Lending a video given to don't know both. Finish it. Anything else y'all can think of before we say goodnight? Val says, I would love to get a statement from the first Aunt Viv. Somebody said on Twitter that Will is now getting ready to be sent to his to Bel Air to live with his auntie till he gets better. Did Chris even know about her alopecia? I don't know. So make sure when you're newsjacking, stay to the facts of what we know. If you are newsjacking for this, now if your brand is gossip and like Wendy Williams style brand, go do your thing. But if you're positioning yourself as an expert that is just giving your expert opinion or expert advice, stick to what you know. Stick to what you know, and make sure you stick close to what the facts are coming out. Is Will gonna make a statement? Is Chris Rock gonna make a statement? Whatever. Another angle is, how do you forgive someone who's hurt you? Because I don't know if Chris and Will are friends. I don't know that to be the case. How do you handle coming back from public humiliation? Because like my sister said, well, we know Chris Rock can take a hit though, because all he did was like go with it, came back and did his job. When the academy sends you screeners, you aren't supposed to lend them out. If you do and it gets duplicated, you're responsible, and that's how they can put you out of the academy. So that is what she's saying about the rules of the academy. My sister's a member of the academy, and so we're gonna see. That's an interesting. I didn't think about that last. That's an interesting take on, is he gonna have his Oscar revoked? So I guess that's it. That's all I can think of. I'm gonna send this out to my list. If I think of anything else, I'll put it in the Noisemaker Squad. So if you're not in my Noisemaker Squad, make sure you join my Noisemaker Squad group. So Lauren says, so they have rules, and very strict rules. Shock and adrenaline keep Chris seemingly functional. That was true. So be thinking about it. Think about the creative way you can inject yourself into this conversation. And again, I don't care what side of the coin you're on, just talk about it. And if you need to really understand newsjacking and learn more about it, just go to newsjackthat.com. It's my free guide. It will take you about 15 minutes to read. Because I really want to see you guys making noise. You better strike while the iron is hot on this one. This is too good to be sleeping on, which is why that's how I ended up going live, because I was like, how can I expect them to jump on this and I won't jump on and go live and tell them about this? So that's kind of hypocritical. So that's why we ended up doing this quick live. So I'm going to count it down in 10, 9. You got some angles you want to run by me? Type them in real quick. 8, 7. Thanks, Shalay. 7, 6. I'm looking at the TV because I'm trying to just see like what they talk about. 5, 4. And then starting this Wednesday, I'm gonna go live and have a headline chat discussion. So I've committed that I'm trying to find my groove back of going live. So on Wednesdays, I will be at 5:15 Pacific, 8:15 Eastern. I am committing that for the month of April, I will go live and we will talk about the latest headlines and how you can newsjack what's hit the headlines. What was I? 3, 2, 1. Love y'all. See you later.